Alright, welcome back Bowling World fans. So today we are drilling the new Ebonite Envision. This is the latest high performance bowling ball from the Ebonite line. Now, let's go ahead and getting into the layout and drilling this ball up for you guys and give you guys my very first thoughts on this bowling ball.
Alright, so the layout that we chose for the new Ebonite Envision was 90 by 4.5 by 45. Now, this is slightly different than some of the layouts that I've done, just in a couple different numbers. So I did the same layout basically as my 3D offset from Hammer. If you want to check that video out, check it out right there in the top right corner. But I went with a smaller back angle because I wanted to see something that picked up a little tiny bit more in the back end of the lane. Now 20 degrees is not that much of a difference for me, but it gave me just enough to be able to see ever so slight different shape out of this and see it pick up a little faster off the spot. So that is why we went with that layout specific. It keeps it nice and controllable, a lot more rounded in shape, which matches up to the specs of this bowling ball. Now, as for those specs, we have the Envision core, which has an RG of 2.501, a differential of 0.053, and an intermediate differential of 0.010. So we have a higher RG number, a higher differential number, with a mid to high intermediate differential. And then wrapped around that core is the GSVX solid reactive resin cover stock, which is finished off at 500 and 2000 Sayer micropads. Now, for your understanding, that higher RG number and higher differential is going to let the ball pick up a little bit less to the front and middle part of the lane. And with that intermediate differential, it gives it that little bit of kick down the lane, allowing the ball to still have a little bit of a pop to it without it being overly aggressive and not being so much in the front and middle part of the lane. Now, the ball that this ball has been compared to so far is the Ebonite Polaris, and that is what they have compared it to over at the Brunswick HQ. And honestly, this ball, comparably to the actual Polaris, is completely different. It sees the front and middle part of the lane a lot smoother, and it doesn't pick up as heavy as the Polaris. I felt like the Polaris, sometimes I had to force it down the lane to be able to really get it to get through the lane, and that would make it hard to be able to carry your 7 pins and your 10 pins. So a little bit weaker of a ball overall, but I don't think it's weaker in the sense of how much it hooks, because this ball definitely hooks plenty. I think it just sees less of the front and middle part of the lane, which is great. And as always, we went ahead and glued in our Vice PO black inserts. Again, if you ever come into my shop, you will see Vice inserts on the rack, and those are my absolute favorite. They feel comfortable, they're nice and tacky, and they're not too tacky. And depending on the color you go with, if you didn't know this already, grips colors can actually affect how you feel the grips. So black ones feel a little bit in the middle range of tackiness, and then as you kind of go from color to color, there's some that feel tackier, there's some that feel slicker. But black has been my absolute favorite because they wear down the least, and they still have some tackiness to them, so I can hold on to the ball a little bit better. And as always, I also have to cut down these grips because I can't have them sticking out on any USB-C or PBA events. So go ahead and cut that down with my trusty old X-Acto blade. And yeah, we'll go ahead and get this ball in the lanes. You guys leave a comment down below what you think about this ball so far.
Alright, so now that we have it drilled up, let's go ahead and take it down to the lanes and see what this ball does and see what some of the specs truly translate to onto the lanes.
All right, and once again, this new Bowling World Slim Triple Tote roller that we have coming out, it should be in some of our shops already, so if you haven't just yet, make sure you guys go to bowlingworld.biz and check out what locations we have and where. That way you can go ahead and try to pick one of these up in our limited supply. Now, let's go ahead and get into throwing the new Ebonite Envision. Now, this ball, again, as I mentioned, I saw it go through the lane a lot easier than the Polaris. So where I'm throwing this Ebonite Envision right now is normally where I would throw the Polaris on a little bit of a fresher condition. I did break in this pair ever so slightly with a couple other balls beforehand, and honestly, if I was throwing the Polaris right now, it would be seeing the lane too early in the front and middle part of the lane, allowing it to basically hit flat And this ball is getting through the lane way easier. It has a little bit of a cleaner cover. It has a little bit of those different numbers that allows the ball to read a little bit smoother overall, giving this ball a little bit more room to play with. I had so much room to play with that I can miss it in a couple boards and still be able to get into the pocket. And if I missed out a little bit, the cover was strong enough and clean enough to be able to pick up and keep it going. I want to give a quick shout out to Brian Buckosh, who's been giving me help with all the layouts as always, as well as just kicking out of the park with all these new bowling balls that he has been helping build up and make. As you can see here, that was just luck of the draw, a 9-pin. I haven't left a 9-pin in so long. How many times do you leave an 8-pin or a 9-pin if you're left-handed or right-handed? And does it bother you, or do you know that you just threw it that really good and it just couldn't, you know, dare to contemplate giving you a strike? But if you guys want to check out the new Ebonite Envision, make sure you guys go down to bowlingworld.biz and pick up yours today. I'll let you guys see these slow-mo shots in some aesthetic music here. So you guys have a great, wonderful day. Appreciate you guys as always. Let's get into the rest of it.
Alright guys, and that was the new Ebonite Envision. If you haven't just yet, make sure you guys hit that like button down below, as well as subscribe, turn on those post notifications. If you haven't just yet, make sure you guys check out this video right here, where you can go ahead and attempt to win one bowling ball out of that list. We're going to be doing that whenever we hit 5,000 subscribers. We appreciate you guys as always, and make sure you guys leave a comment down below what you think about the new Ebonite Envision. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out. Talk to you soon.